Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to have you here. This is part 2 in a 3-part series where we are diving into all of the things that are no longer serving us in the coaching and online education space going into this year and beyond, because things are shifting, things are changing, and our strategy needs to follow along if we want to continue to be industry leaders. So I cannot wait to dive into it with you. Today we're going to be diving into all of the things in marketing that are no longer helping, that if you continue to do, you're going to continue to be burnt out, exhausted, frustrated over the algorithm, and really just feeling like your strategies are archaic. And then we're going to talk about what you need to shift to in order to elevate your marketing and your messaging so you can call in your ideal clients and really make everything when it comes to sales and growth and customers that much easier and smoother, which is what we talk about on day 3 or part 3. It's not technically days. That said, I would love to know if you love this channel. Will you just please go ahead and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button? That really makes such a huge difference in letting YouTube know that you want to hear more of this video, more of me, more of this brand, and really help to empower us to continue along our movement to change the world one brand at a time. So every like, every subscribe makes all the difference. Thank you so much for your support. Let's dive in. If you missed the first part of this series, you can go back and watch the video or listen to the podcast episode. But if you're a coach, consultant, an online entrepreneur, an educator, someone who wants to get into this space, you're a service provider, you run an agency, then this series is meant for you, because there are too many strategies continuing to float out there from the gurus and from everyone who's just trying to get you to buy into their program that are literally teaching this paint by number style approach where it's follow these exact steps, do this exact strategy. I have joined some of these programs hoping that they would be different, and they're not. And it really is not serving us going into this next year. And I'm kind of tired of not talking about it and not calling out. So that is what this entire series is all about. There is a better way to grow your business and grow your brand in a way that feels aligned to your strategies, in a way that feels doable, implementable, simplified, that doesn't shame you for wanting to do things differently, for wanting to tap into being multi-passionate and just wanting to really relate to your audience on a different level while still being able to have the foundation of a strategy that can make you successful. That is what so many of these programs and gurus and teachings out there are really missing. So we are diving into in this series the only 3 things that you need going into this year and beyond in order for you to scale and grow your dream business to $1 million plus by doing things your way, by running your brand your way. And so today we're diving all into elevating your marketing and your messaging. On part 1 of this series, we started with laying your brand foundation. Do not skip this step. I know marketing is fun and sexy and everybody wants to talk about it, but ultimately where marketing goes wrong is when you're marketing a thing, you're marketing a product, and you're not really marketing your brand. You're not really laying the foundation of calling in the clients that are aligning to your values, of growing your following with the right people who are actually going to convert into your funnels, into your programs, into your sales strategies. And then you wonder why it feels so dang hard when you're trying to implement all these other strategies that seem to be so successful for everyone else. And yet for some reason, it isn't working for you. It's because you're doing it in a way that isn't in alignment with your brand. So head on over to the very first part of this series and make sure that you're listening to that as we lay the foundation and dive into the most important part of these 3 steps, because if you're missing that, everything from this point on is going to feel really hard and difficult. So start there and then come on back and dive into everything it takes to market effectively. And one of the strongest ways to set yourself up for success and really allow you to step into your CEO role is to really implement this 3-part framework called our CEO method. And so you want to start by clarifying your brand, which was on series day 1. And now we're going into elevating your marketing. And when you're doing this, then we get to optimize your sales. The flow of this is really critical, because when you clarify your brand, you're establishing yourself as an authority in this online space with hundreds of thousands of millions of courses that are out there, tons of creators that are thriving and growing. What is going to set you apart? Now, you may hear these numbers and feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to worry about it. But honestly, like, this is your career. This is your future. This is your life. Think about what your alternative is. Do you want to be a nurse? Are there not millions of other nurses that are out there? Like, you want to be an executive for a corporation, for a Fortune 500 corporation. Great. Stand in line with the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of other people that are there. Every industry has competition. Every industry has tons of people that are in your field. It's not like this or bust. It really is you stepping into this and deciding, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it really successfully. I'm going to go after it. I'm going to be consistent, but I'm going to do it my way. And I'm going to create a framework that allows me to move forward and serve my audience in a way that doesn't feel out of alignment, that doesn't burn me out, and that still allows me to make a lot of money by building this business around my lifestyle. That is the goal of all of us. If you are just here to flip a quick buck or get rich quick, this is not the channel for you. You can unsubscribe that button and peace out, because nothing that I teach is going to serve you. But if you're here because you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you want to feel empowered in using your gifts and using your expertise and your skills to be able to learn and to grow. If you're here because you want to make serious bank and you want to be able to create an impact in the world, like, that's what this is all about. And so why, if in the way that we want to show up in this impact-driven, really unique, focused way, does that feel so exciting and so unique to how you want to show up? And yet, when it comes to your marketing, you want to fit the box of other people because it's working for them. You want to bend over backwards for the algorithm because you don't want to lose out on an opportunity to get more followers. Like, you keep doing the same song and dance that you're complaining about. Like, make a decision. You're either going to piece out of the game and do things your way and try to take what serves you and leave behind what doesn't, or you're going to keep going down this entire like hamster wheel of feeling frustrated and complaining about the same cycle that you continue to participate in again and again. You know, that's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, even though you know that it's wrong for you. Like, choose to do things differently. Choose to elevate your marketing in a unique and different approach. Choose to go into this next year really feeling empowered to say, screw the algorithm, screw what I have to be doing, what other people are telling me to do, what seems to be working for everybody, quote unquote, and do things in a way that feels really dang good to you. Let's talk about how to lay the foundation of that and get excited about the way you get to serve your clients, about how you get to show up in your business, because like, that's what this is all about. And if it's about anything else, then you're wasting your time. You're literally wasting your time. And we're not about that, right? Because time is money. And around here, we want to do things that are setting our soul on fire. Or if you're feeling on fire, like man, the dog with the newspaper, and you're like, I'm fine, it's fine, everything's fine. Pause, reevaluate, figure out what you want to do differently, and then jump back in. So let's talk about the 3 things that we are no longer going to be doing going into this next year. 3 things that no longer serve us that we're going to leave at the door. And then we'll talk about what exactly we are replacing that with. So the first thing is we are jumping off of the content hamster wheel. Can I get an amen? Like, if you are ready to get off of the hamster wheel and to stop thinking like, I don't know what else to talk about. I'm not sure what other, let me find the latest trending reel. Let me figure out like what kind of content I have to come up with yet again. You're posting on the spot, on the day of, you're stressing out over it, you're trying to keep up with the algorithm, like you're doing all these things and you just feel like it's the same thing over and over again. Like at this point, your content is pretty much like throwing spaghetti against a wall and trying to figure out what sticks, and nothing's sticking because it's way undercooked or overcooked and you are just tired. You're like tired. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. So then you default to not doing it at all. And then you become super inconsistent in your content because you went on the hamster wheel so much that you got so exhausted, you drained yourself, you need a break, and now you're just like done for life. And when you show up online, it's every now and then. If that, it's not consistent, it's not exciting to you anymore. you've really kind of lost your passion in the content you're creating, or you're thinking like, I never signed up to create content to begin with. I see you, entrepreneur, who's like, I just want to live in my lane and my zone of genius and do what I love and not have to worry about this. But let me tell you something. Creating content on social media is marketing, free marketing at that. And you are not in the business of turning down an opportunity to freely market yourself so that you can sell your offer, so you can show up in your genius. You want to do it in a way that's smarter, not harder. But you can't jump off of it consistently. So if what's happening right now isn't working because you can't get out of this content hamster wheel, then we've got to shift it, right? The second thing I see a lot of entrepreneurs really get caught up in is the fact that you are so worried and concerned with your follower. So you have this like following frustration. You're showing up online, you are actually consistent, you're putting things out there, you're doing what everybody says to do, you're doing a day even, you're following the trending sounds, you're showing up on stories, you're putting engaging polls up, you're in the DMs with your audience, like the hamster wheel is going, and yet the followers aren't coming through. Or the followers are coming through, but the engagement isn't there. Or the engagement is there, but there's no sales. And you're like, what in the world gives? Like at this point, I don't know what else to do. Like I can't show up any differently. I can't, continue to push myself in this way. It's just not working. And then you convince yourself that it's not working for you, or it only works. Gosh, if I had $1 every time I heard someone say Instagram growth and Reels only works for Instagram coaches. Like they're the only ones growing online. You guys, it's not true. And I'm not even an Instagram coach per se, but it is growing for people who are choosing to live in their zone. One of the designers on my team has grown her account to over 12,000 and counting at this point in less than a year. It hasn't even been a year yet, from like less than 1,000. And guess what? She hates Reels. She never posts Reels at all. She's not doing a ton of carousels. She's a designer. You know what she's posting? Static posts. Static posts that are supposedly dead. She doesn't do long comments that are super thought-provoking. She just does good stuff. She makes good stuff and she puts it out there, and she can do it consistently because she has chosen to do it in a way that aligns to her. She's not bending over backwards for the algorithm. She's just showing up in her genius and letting it work for her. Marketing works when it works for you. And when it doesn't work for you, right? When you don't feel aligned to it, when you don't feel like there's a reason for you to show up anymore, then all of a sudden marketing feels like a job that you hate. And it feels like something you dread. And we all know that if you dread something, you ain't gonna do it. My oldest son is responsible for washing the dishes in the house. My kids all have chores. They rotate through the chores. It's a thing. He dreads the dishes. Like the very thought that he even has to start to think about pulling the dishes together sets him off. His entire mood changes. He's not a whiner. He whines. He gets upset. He doesn't want to do it. And this job ends up taking 2 or 3 times longer than what it needs to do, because every single second of it is something that pains him. And that is how so many of you guys are showing up in your marketing and social media. Like it's literally something that pains you. And so it feels exhausting and it feels draining. So the idea of elevating your marketing isn't really a thing. You buy templates, you buy courses, you try to fit everybody else's model, and you're sitting here wondering why it's not working for you. The followers aren't following, the likes aren't converting into leads, and you're stuck on the struggle bus. The third thing in your marketing that is really struggling right now is the fact that you don't have leads. So you're stuck on the content hamster wheel, can't get off of it. Even though you're doing it, the followers aren't coming through. They're not the right kind of people. And as a result, you have no leads. And so all of this is actually preventing you from showing up in your genius. It's preventing you from selling your offers. It's preventing you from launching effectively. It's preventing you from selling passively, because passive isn't really a thing, conversation for another day. But it's really preventing your success, period. Because even if you're showing up with dread, people see that. They feel that. They can hear you when you're passionate about it or when you're not. They know when it's like you're on or off. And I'm not saying this because I'm perfect. I have definitely had seasons of drought, I'll call it, where when it comes to my own marketing, because we run a marketing agency that markets for everybody else, when it comes to my own marketing, guilty as charged, there's a lot of times where I have like nothing left when it comes to that. Like everything is on empty, right? Like my bucket is empty and I don't have that to give. And you may have that same situation, whether or not you run a marketing agency, like you're just pouring out into everyone and everything around you, that when it comes to you actually pouring back into your own content, it's like bottom of the list, like just really isn't a priority from you. And then you wonder why your launches aren't going well. And then you wonder why your leads are coming in. And then you wonder why you don't feel confident in selling. Like all of this makes a huge difference. So how do we get off of this cycle? Like how do we get ourselves to a point where we can market in a way that feels exciting again, where we are able to use the algorithm for our favor instead of like dreading it going into it, where we can actually cultivate a community of not just like advocates, but like true or followers, not just followers, but true advocates, right? Like that's what we all want. We want to be able to cultivate the greatest of all time when it comes to your ideal followers so that they can convert into your ideal clients, so they can convert into sales and lifelong relationships and opportunities to nurture and grow and pour back into them and have them be a part of your mission and all that jazz. It starts with your strategy. It starts with your strategy. Your content doesn't begin with the algorithm. It doesn't begin with what you feel like talking about today. It doesn't begin with a trending sound. Your content begins with a strategy. And that strategy needs to have the bigger picture in mind. What is the point of this post? How do I want to show up? What do I want people to do with it? What's the point? How do I want them to show up? What do I want people to do with it? Those are the three things you want to ask yourself every time you get ready to create content, whether it is a YouTube video, a podcast, a social media post, an email that you're sending out. Ask yourself those three things. What's the purpose of it? Because if you don't know the answer to those three things, when someone's reading it, like, what's their interpretation supposed to be? And ultimately, even if it is a really good post, but there's no call to action, you don't actually like empower them to do anything or challenge them to do anything, they're going to move on. Like literally it's free marketing, but there are hundreds, thousands of other people that they're scrolling past, videos that they're rotating through, podcast episodes that they're switching through. They're jumping from you to the top charts, from you to suggested videos, from you to the next reel in the explore feed. So how can we keep them wanting to explore more of you? How do we keep them from wanting to go to someone else's and say, gosh, that was so good. Like, how do we get more of that? And how do we create what I call a content black hole where they can get lost in your content, in your videos, in your podcast episodes, in your social media accounts, so that they can spiral down this education, entertainment, inspiration rabbit hole that gets them to a point where they are so excited and obsessed with what you're putting out there. They hit that follow button, they comment on your photos, they go to that link in bio, and they actually check you out. That's the goal. It comes down to strategy. You really want to have a method to the madness of the content that you're putting out there. You don't want to overthink this. Let me be clear. Strategy does not equal overthinking, but you do want to be able to have the end in mind. You want to be able to have purpose with it. What is the point of this post? What is the point of this video? What is the point of the podcast you're doing? That needs to be top of mind, because otherwise, why should they care? And that's the other thing. You want to create a strategy that encourages people to care. People don't care about you. I said that already before. Like, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but no one cares about you. People care about themselves. They care about how you're going to help them. They care about how you're going to pour into them. You know why? Because as humans, number one, we're innately selfish, but number two, we don't have a lot of free time. We have lives, we have families, we have jobs, we have careers, we have other things that we have to do that is more important than following your Instagram post or listening to your YouTube episode. That's why every single subscribe, every single like, every single follow means such a big deal to entrepreneurs and small business owners like myself, because we know that you don't have to be here and yet you are. But you're not here because you love me so much. Like, you're here because I'm adding value to your life. That's my goal. That's what it has to be about. I need to be able to create things that are going to make you better, you stronger as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a human being. Otherwise, you're going to peace out. You're not really going to want to be a part of this anymore. And that's not going to be on you. It's going to be on me, because I stopped creating content that drew you in, and I started doing things that were more selfish, more redundant, more misaligned. I have to create things that you love. You have to create things that your clients love, and they don't just love you. They love themselves and their goals and their dreams and their desires, and they want more of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a selfish thing to desire and to say. We all have to protect our peace, and we all have to protect our time. And so if you're going to demand to be a part of someone's little corner of the internet, make it worth their while. Ask yourself, why should they care? And when you can realign your marketing strategy to that, to where you have a strategy that gives it purpose and also hits on the why they should care, then you have gold, my friends. Then you actually have content that's going to draw people in, that's going to get them to want to stay, that's going to get them to want to convert. Once your strategy is in place, you want to hit the nail on the head when it comes to your messaging. And that goes to everything I just spoke of with regards to why they should care. Your messaging, what you say, how you say it, how you show up, number one, is a reflection of your brand, of your values, of your vibe, of your personality that you want to display and to portray within your brand. And number two, it's a reflection of how you're helping your ideal client, how you're adding value to their life. Like, everything that you're putting out there in your messaging needs to be about them. It needs to be a why should they care? What's their problem? What's their pain point? How are you helping them get closer to their goals, closer to their desires? Do you know them? Do you know your ideal client? Do you know what their trigger points are? Do you know what's going to connect with them most? Are you listening to them? Are you asking for feedback? Are you listening to their feedback? Are you surveying them? Are you meeting them for coffee chats? Are they a part of your community? Do they feel united? Do they feel connected to who you are? Do they feel like they're a part of something bigger? Do you inspire them to feel like they're on a bigger mission? Do you inspire them to think bigger of themselves, to feel like they are so fully capable of what's next? Do you make them laugh so much till it hurts in their belly and they start crying? Do you entertain them to the point where they have you playing in the background because you are adding so much joy to their life? Everything you're saying and communicating in your marketing and your messaging and your social media has to come from that genuine, heartfelt place of why they should care and what your thing is. And when you can mirror your marketing strategy with your marketing messaging, everything from there is icing on the cake. Then we can talk about funnels. Then we can talk about leads. Then we can talk about offers, and we can talk about launch strategies, and we can talk about passive income. We can talk about evergreen. We can talk about all the fun things when it comes to sales, because at that point, you're selling to an audience that has already bought into you because you have showed up with such tremendous value. You have over-delivered, you have overserved, and they are so ready to pull out their wallets and say, take my credit card, take my wallet, like give me whatever you have because you have added so much value to my life. I want more of it. That's when sales comes easy. That's when passive income feels passive. You're going to do the work for it, but it's going to feel that way because the people that you're calling in aren't people that you're paying thousands of dollars for in ads that are super cold and not familiar with your world. Like, these are your people. These are your people. And when you're marketing your offers, your launches, your sales, your services to your people, then business is fun. then things are real. Then things are easy. It is a totally different story. I could teach you all day long the paint by numbers approach to how to do a launch strategy, how to execute that, how to plug and play. I have a launch course that gives you the plug and play tools and templates. You're supposed to customize it. You're supposed to tweak it to your brand. There's courses, modules, and training and lessons that teach you how to do that and not just plug and play it in that way, but it gives you everything you need. You could just do that. But if you don't have a community, it's not going to solve that problem. If you don't have a brand, it's not going to build your community. You need all three. This is why this CEO framework works so dang well, because it allows you to truly sit in that CEO seat. Truly delegate when you're ready to delegate the right tasks, but things you're not giving up, serving your people, showing up for them, building relationships. I don't care how you delegate as a CEO, you're not giving those things up. And if you do, you will lose. But if you don't, you'll win. That's the secret to marketing. That is the difference going into this next season and beyond in a world of bots, in a world of AI, in a world of millions of other courses, in a world where everybody and their mama is trying to push a marketing funnel on you. What is going to set you apart is how you build relationships, how you're able to leverage your brand and your story to connect to your ideal client, how you're able to speak into what they care about, how you're able to add value, and how you're able to really build genuine, heartfelt, authentic connection in a way that allows them to feel so ready when you're ready to sell to them, when you want to offer something, when you're launching a program. It's easy at that point because they're bought into you, because you're bought into them. That's the key. So many people are like, why isn't my audience bought into me? And why aren't people bought into the things that I'm doing in my brand? And I'm going through all the motions. Like, honey, are you bought into them? Let's start with that. Because if you're not fully engaged and bought into your audience, don't sit here and complain that they're not bought into you. Reciprocity doesn't work that way. Pour into them and they'll pour back into you. Trust me. Now, the third and final part of the series, we are going to talk about optimizing your sales. We're going to talk about live launching in conjunction with evergreen marketing. Evergreen meaning you're selling something all year round. Live launch meaning you're creating a promotion once, twice, 3 times, 4 times a year, however long you would like to, in a way that is creating a campaign around something, an awareness. The magic comes when you infuse both, and that's what we're going to talk about within that. So how do we create a cohesive plan going into this year where you understand when you're live launching, what's going to be on evergreen, and how do you get to this point where you're selling without selling and feeling really dang good about it, where business feels easy, where $100,000 months are the vibe. And that's what we're going to dive into all on part 3, our final part of the series, which is all around how to help you learn the 3 strategies to scale your business to $1 million+ and beyond. Really the only things you need to do and know on a consistent basis in order to hit the goals that you want and go after it in a way that aligns with your lifestyle. So I can't wait to dive into this with you. I can't wait for you to be able to just really get geeky with me tomorrow when we talk about the sales and the numbers and the optimization of what that looks like for you and your business. So thank you so much for listening today. If you liked this episode, I want you to go ahead and hit that like button, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It means the world for me to know that you're here, that you're a part of this movement, and that you're growing with us. And speaking of growing, I really hope that this inspired you to truly step into your CEO power and build your brand your way. If you have not snatched the Build a Brand course, which is free and available to you, please go ahead and do that. The link is down below in the description. You can go to thebrandvibe.com/buildabrand and lay the foundation for everything that we are talking about from here. So it is inside of my website you can go to and take a look at it. It's in the description and get your hands on it. It's completely free. There's some resources available to you. And if you're at a point where you're like, I'm so ready to jump into working more with you, Nicole, how do I do that? The CEO Accelerator is our main signature program, and I would love to welcome you when we open the doors for the next cohort. You can jump on that wait list, go to thebrandvibe.com/CEO. I'll link that below as well. And we spend 3 months diving into these topics. We really unpack your brand. We really go into your marketing strategies, and we help you with your live launches and your evergreen funnels. And I am so excited to be able to be doing this with you if you're ready for that. And if not, stick around. Hit the subscribe button. Don't miss out on this video and any future ones that come. Part 3 is next. and it's a good one. So I can't wait for you to get your hands on it. Until we meet again, I'm sending you all of the good vibes. Okay. My back is aching, my brows are tight, my mood is shaking, my left to run my hands up, tie my feet down low in this way. Jig, hello, jig, jig, hello, jig, hello, jig, jig. My back is aching, my brows are tight, my mood is shaking, my left to run my hands, my feet down low in this way. Jig, hello. It's been that kind of day. Oh, crap. Bye.